In the headlines, March 10th is Budget Day in Barbados. Jonathan Reed sworn in as a senator. The BSTU on board with the setting up of the Educational Transformation Ministry. And in sports, Hilda Skeen Primary dominates the Frida Nichols zone at Knapsack.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening to you and welcome. I'm Tisha Hines with the details at this time. Monday, March 10th is the date for the budgetary proposals and financial statement 2025. And it will not be delivered by Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley, but instead the Minister responsible for Finance, Economic Affairs and Investment, Ryan Strawn, who will do so in Parliament. PM Motley made the announcement this afternoon at State House, where she witnessed the swearing-in of government's newest Senator Jonathan Reed, who will serve as Minister of Innovation, Industry, Science and Technology. The Prime Minister says Minister Strawn will be delivering the budget this year, as she wanted to give someone else the opportunity to execute the task, one of the most important events on the national calendar.
I get to speak longer than most, so I still will have my opportunity. But I think it is important that we build capacity across the country, and that's what I'm trying to do. Thank you very much.
The budget is scheduled to begin at 3 p.m. Meanwhile, 42-year-old Reed, formerly Chief of Staff in the Prime Minister's office, says he is willing and ready to take on his new roles as Senator and Minister. He says one of his first orders of business is to engage in discussions with President of the Senate, the Most Honourable Reginald Farley, and Leader of Government Business, Lisa Cummins, regarding the state of affairs in the Upper House.
But I think I need to really resonate with the government policies with the general public and the ambition that's involved in the work. When I first started, I think like any other relatively young person, I felt, oh, well, government doesn't have many ideas. The people were just kind of plowing along and not doing dynamic things. I was very wrong. The extraordinary things that are attempted every single day, right? So from life sciences to plant science to there's all means of AIs being built all across government, all kind of interesting things that I don't think that resonates with the public. I think that needs to be much more to the fore. I think the idea of it being a whole of nation approach, I think that's something that's fundamentally missing. At the end of the day, government is made of Barbadians. The country is, has itself and has to focus on being the best version of itself to move itself forward. And I think there's that idea of us and them doesn't work in the world that we live in right now.
Prime Minister Motley says she is confident Minister Reed is capable of helping to transform the country from an analog environment to a digital environment.
This ministry, therefore, of innovation, industry, science and technology is intended to be able to bridge that gap and to ensure that we can digitize and innovate. Digitization is not simply about just scanning and moving forward. You hear me talk all the time about deconstruct, reconstruct, and ask a number of questions so that we don't assume that the things that were relevant 50 years, 100 years, 70 years ago are still the things to guide us today. What is the public purpose we're trying to serve? What is the public mischief we want to get away from? And how can technology help us to do that in a more effective and efficient way?
10 St. Peter residents and one individual who does not reside in that constituency have been honoured with the Pride of Barbados Award for their contribution to developing the parish. President Dame Sandra Mason bestowed the honour upon them this morning at State House as part of the government's We Gather in 2025 national celebrations. Among them are Carol Boyce, Sherry Boyce, Gray Broom, Oro Holder, Sharon Howell, Anthony Jordan, Reynold McLean, Erwin Scantlebury, Bernard Weatherhead, Randolph Woodruff, and Mervyn Griffith, who doesn't reside in that parish. Member of Parliament for St. Peter, Colin Jordan, says the recipients are deserving of the award.
We have a range of persons who have contributed to our community, to our parish, in a number of different ways. People have contributed through business, through work with the church, through work in communities, sports clubs, in business, in a wide range of areas. And the beauty of the Pride of Barbados Award is that it recognizes people who contribute not in just the areas that we consider to be the traditional areas. You know, sometimes you feel you have to be a attorney or a politician or a medical doctor to be recognized.
Sharon Howell, who has committed many years to pastoral work, philanthropy, and leadership of community initiatives, says she is humbled to be on the St. Peter Regathering 2025 honors list.
My life basically has been a life of service. I teach Sunday school at the All Saints Anglican Church. I'm presently the Sunday school superintendent there. I also am a director of the youth choir there. I work at Republic Bank, and I lead the corporate social responsibility program there, which is called The Power to Make a Difference. And that job has afforded me the opportunity to even serve more through philanthropy and basically giving back to the communities in which we operate and serve.
Congrats to all of the honorees. The Barbados Secondary Teachers Union is in full support of the move to transforming the education landscape in the country. President Mary Redmond says officials now need to look as a priority at transition from the primary to secondary school system. Her comments come following yesterday's announcement by Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley of a cabinet reshuffle. This announcement included an adjustment to the role and function of the Ministry of Education.
What has been in place for decades now is not working. That is clear in relation to the examination itself and what happens after the exam. And in the BSTU, we are hoping that this will be a priority area where there is a relook, a rethink, and reorganization of transition from primary to secondary school.
Ms. Redmond adds that her union is hopeful to meet with Minister of Educational Transformation Chad Blackman soon. She says they also look forward to continue working alongside Minister Sandra Husbands, who now has responsibility for training and tertiary education. And she thanks former Minister Kay McConney for her support over the years.
Previous comments from Mr. Blackman have exposed a commitment on his part to change and innovation in preparing youth for the 21st century, and we are excited to be working with him on this through his responsibility for education transformation. I do believe that education transformation is something that all right-thinking people see as an urgent need for us in this country.
As government moves to bring these systems which govern land transactions in this country up to industry standards, high on the agenda is the issue of cashiers closing off too early. That's according to Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley. She says the issue of payments being limited to a cashier cannot continue. Ms. Motley made the remarks as she set the tone at the second Ministry of Housing, Lands and Maintenance colloquium titled Transforming the Land Transaction Process Towards E-Conveyancing in the Context of Barbados. Prime Minister Motley says working groups will be put in place with meetings held every 2 weeks to ensure that process is being made.
This notion of 8:15 to 3 o'clock is an anachronism. It has to stop in this country. And that's one of the things, the person who I will go to State House to have sworn in shortly, that's one of the things, and GovTech, Mr. Boyce is here. This is a priority for our government. The land transactions that we do cannot continue to resemble the 19th century when we are in the 21st century. And to that extent, therefore, this is a major priority to unlock seamless, quick, affordable land transactions in Barbados appropriate to the third decade of the 21st century.
Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance Dwight Sutherland says the current property transfer and land transaction process, though well established, is burdened with certain inefficiencies. He says in many countries, e-conveyancing has revolutionized the conveyancing process, bringing it into the digital era. And as government seeks to bring Barbados on that path, the solution must be practical, equitable, and context appropriate for Barbados.
As a government, we are committed to reimagining these processes to improve accessibility, fairness, and equity for all Barbadians. You will notice that my focus is on e-conveyancing, and as an engineer, we don't wait until all the dots are lined up. We have 3 dots lined up, and we know what the end game is, and we go towards that end game. So the journey towards e-conveyancing, however, is not simply a technological one. It is a multifaceted endeavor requiring collaboration across multiple disciplines.
Coming up, we'll tell you what Barbadians can soon do regarding driver's licenses. The buildings at the Civic Center in Whole Town are not historic. Rather, it's the site that is historic. That's according to Prime Minister Mia Mottley. She stresses that government will do nothing to take away from the historic nature of the site. She was speaking during the recent hosting of St. Peter Ideas Forum as part of the We Gather in 2025 initiative.
The conversation that the country has to have is, when we move the Civic Center, do we keep all of the jobs that we have at the Civic Center? Yes, we do. And do we create new jobs on that site? And the question, therefore, is how best do we treat to that site, and how best do we create new jobs? Because most of the people who are speaking, we have the benefit of jobs. But the reality is, when I go through St. Lucie and when I go through St. Peter, there are still people looking for jobs in the tourism sector. And that is why the development at beaches is a game changer.
Barbadians will soon be able to apply for learner's permits and driver's licensing online. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Works Santia Bradshaw has announced the driver's license management system will be introduced to the public by the end of March. Speaking during the estimates debate, the Deputy Prime Minister indicated the new system is a part of the move to modernize the Barbados Licensing Authority.
It would also facilitate them getting the card and the appointment to get the card. And there would also be a reminder system that will be onboarded to allow for persons to renew their driver's license card, so that you get a prompt after, when you are ready to renew the driver's license, that time is about to expire and that you can go online and pay for these services. We expect that there will still be the opportunity for some people, especially elderly persons who are not as familiar sometimes with the technology, to be able to still utilize the walk-ins, but we try our best to discourage that as much as possible.
The Deputy Prime Minister adds efforts are ongoing to improve the services offered at the authority, which is currently experiencing several challenges.
In many cases, we've had to bring back persons who have retired to be able to augment the existing staff that are presently there until we are able to have those positions filled for which those requests have been made. It is our intention to continue to contract the services of individuals to be able to help to ease the stress and the strain on not just the officers but also the public at the Barbados Licensing Authority.
And we encourage you to stay tuned to CBC TV8 after the news. You get an opportunity to see more of what happened regarding the Ministry of Transport and Works today in the Lower House. There's concern this evening about the bushy conditions around St. Elizabeth Primary School in St. Joseph. A group calling itself the St. Elizabeth Central Management Committee got together on Sunday to clean up around the school. A number of the group's members attended St. Elizabeth Primary School and indicated that the appearance of the grounds at the school was not all they were worried about.
We're cleaning it up mainly for the children, because this is a school where a lot of little children go to school at, and the bush, the rats, and those sort of things, so we wanted to keep away from those small children. Now, we speak to the principal at the school a few weeks ago, and she gave us the okay to go outside and clean the surroundings outside. But it makes no sense you cleaning the surroundings and leaving the inside the way with the grass and thing on it. So instead of we coming back here again, we decided that we would do one thing one time and move on to another project.
Well, it's sports time, and Anne-Marie Burke is here. Anne-Marie?
Good evening to you, Tisha. And of course, we start with track and field news. Hilda Skeen Primary ran away with both the boys and girls titles in today's Frida Nichols zone of the 2025 Shafet Frosty's National Primary Schools Athletics Championships. The Hilda Skeen boys tallied 286 points to Wesley Hall's 237 and 158 from St. Bernard's Primary. Meanwhile, their girls won with 291 points, 87 more than Luther Thorne Memorial, who ended with 204, and Grisette's Primary 202. Let's take a look at some of the sprints. The under 9 80 meters will start our look at the action in the Frida Nichols zone, and here comes your fastest girl, Shania Canterbury of Grisette's Primary. She had them done and dusted from the first 40 meters and will cross the line in 12.85 seconds to be fastest over this distance. That was a great run. The turn of the boys are focused in the middle of the track. The battle between Shahir Adams of Wesley Hall and Renako Harden of Hilda Skeen. And Adams changed gears in the final 10 meters to surge ahead and win the heat and his division in 12.71 seconds. To the 100s, the under 11s, girls first, and all the running was done on the inside. In the green, yellow, and black of St. Bernard's Primary, that's Omara Aline in lane 2, coming at you with seats and moving, getting a challenge on the outside from Sakari Small of Hilda Skeen, but she could not stop her. Aline is a class act, crossing the line in 15.60 seconds. And you could call him the under 11 sprint king. He shot out of lane 2 like a bullet, and it was an express flight to the finish line. Head up, arms and feet moving, just unstoppable. Wesley Hall Shakira Nurse takes the 100 in 14.93 seconds. And to the under 13s, the girls, and please take note of this name. It was over even before it started. Desiree Grant of Luther Thorne Memorial. She has the form of a true star in a race all her own, winning in 14.06 seconds. And like the girls, the boys have their own star too. Again, jot down the name, Amir Quimby. He's from Hilda Skeen. There's something in that eastern breeze. Last year's under 11 champion is now the under 13 king. Top class performance, stopping the clock in 14.09 seconds. The Frida Nichols zone is in the bag. Tomorrow, it'll be the turn of the Ryan Brathwaite zone. Barbados women are now 2-0 after defending 181 runs to defeat the Windward Islands women by 56 this evening in their round 2 clash of the Siege United Women's Super 50 Cup. Playing at Warner Park in St. Kitts, the Bajan women were sent into bat first and were bowled out for 181 off 43.3 overs. Opener Kaisia Knight led with 63, backed up with 51 from her sister Kaishona Knight. Afi Fletcher, Zayda James, Janelia Glasgow, and Pearl Etienne had 2 wickets each. In reply, the Windward women were dismissed for 125 off 30.5 overs, with Najani Cumberbatch taking 3 for 20. 2 wickets each went to Captain Aaliyah Aline and Keelia Elliott. Barbados women will play Jamaica women in round 3 on Friday. Still with cricket, England has been eliminated from the ICC Champions Trophy. They fell to Afghanistan in a massive upset this afternoon by 8 runs. Deciding to bat first, Afghanistan rode on an impressive century of 177 from Ibrahim Zadran and posted 325 for 7 off their 50 overs. Jofra Archer took 3 for 64. In reply, England fell short on 317 all-out of 49.5 overs. Joe Root smashed 120 as Azmatullah Omarazai ended with 5 for 58. Tomorrow's match will see Pakistan against Bangladesh from 5 a.m. Barbados time. Live coverage will be on MCTV's ESPN 308. Well, that's my first look at sports. When I return later, I'll have some more school sports. So back to you, Tisha.
All right, good stuff. I know you have lots more play coming, especially as we look toward Gold Cup coming up this weekend.
That as well.
All right, well, next on CBC's Newsnight, the business report. Barbados is the 3rd captive insurance jurisdiction in the region and 7th in the world. This from Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Services Commission, Warwick Ward, as he addressed the Barbados International Business Association BIBA conference today, Wednesday, to introduce the upcoming 5th Barbados Risk and Insurance Management Conference to be held in Barbados next month. In a wide-ranging speech, the CEO said the insurance sector continues to grow and the FSC is patently aware that they must evolve to meet the demands of the stakeholders and has advised on proposed amendments to the Insurance Act. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The FSC official said the amendments would facilitate the implementation of risk-based requirements for statutory funds, capital and solvency.
We have made a few necessary amendments, but overall we have started a comprehensive and purpose-driven approach to our legislative amendments and our reform agenda. We do this to ensure that the implementation of a modern and flexible framework which allows the Commission to do exactly what we say we are going to do, create a risk-based framework.
Mr. Ward said as part of the FSC's engagement, they will share the amendments with the industry and effect consultations before the final version is shaped.
To demonstrate our commitment to you and to provide strong regulatory oversight and to enhance service offerings as we build out FSC 2.0. The Commission is focused on effectively implementing a risk-based regulatory framework and supervisory methodology. And this will allow us to better address the macro and micro prudential exposures that may arise. Robust risk management, given the size and the exposure of our economy. Robust risk management is essential for fostering investor confidence and driving increased investment into and within the Barbadian economy.
BIBA's Vice President, Joanna Austin, said the conference will bring together over 150 insurance, risk management, and global business professionals.
Our goal is to foster thought leadership and facilitate meaningful connections among industry experts and regulators. This year, we are excited to host the conference on March 27th and 28th at the luxurious, all-inclusive Wyndham Grand Barbados, a venue that allows us to welcome more delegates and sponsors than ever before. We are already on course to exceed previous year's conferences with already over 150 delegates, speakers, and sponsors registered from 88 different companies and 10 different jurisdictions.
The Barbados Risk and Insurance Management Conference will run from March 27th to the 28th at the Wyndham Grand Barbados Sam Lords Castle Resort. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Hey, thank you, Trevor. He almost fainted. That's how Ashley Bailey responded to the news that he had won the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid in the Republic Bank's Make Your Christmas Magical campaign competition. And as he received the keys to the brand new vehicle, he recalled the events leading up to the good news.
I was told I have to come in and sign some documents that were outstanding. So it was kind of like, what documents is these? I thought I signed everything. But when I get here, that was what was happening. So I thought it was just that. Not that it was told I had the boss lady hold up, and he was wondering why do you have her hold up? So she told me that you have to exit through this door, and he was like, why do we have to exit through the door? That was going through my mind, and then it was a big fanfare and everything. It felt kind of surprised. I almost fainted, that's the truth.
There was definitely some side commentary going on. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the bank, Carleen Sudat, said the competition was part of the bank's mission to help customers.
It's really to help people in their times of need. These campaigns, we started a personal loan campaign, which is normally a lower ticket size, but really is around helping our customers find their way financially, meeting Christmas expenses, meeting general expenses on a whole, and it was very successful.
Well, congratulations to him. We'll take a break here and come back with the weather with Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Karen is here. That means there are blue skies ahead, I'm hoping. Welcome.
Good evening to you, Tisha, and good evening, everyone. Well, the ridge pattern is our dominant feature. As a result, we enjoyed mostly sunny skies. The winds across the region, they are moderate, and convergence maintained some afternoon showers across the Guianas. The maximum temperature today was 30 degrees Celsius, the minimum 25 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 26 degrees Celsius. Now, the relative humidity is 75%. The winds, they're coming in from the southeast. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where the temperatures are ranging from 24 to 27 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows that it is relatively dry across most of the islands, and the winds, they are generally moderate across the region. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where the ridge pattern maintained mostly sunny skies for us here in Barbados. The winds generally moderate across the islands, and those seas also moderate at this time, with swells peaking at 2 meters. Now, later on tonight, we can expect a mix of clear and cloudy skies, along with just a few light showers. Further south, convergence maintained cloudy skies along with showers during the afternoon across the Guianas. Over now in the Western Caribbean, we do have that ridge pattern maintaining mostly fair skies across most of the islands. There is a trough system, though, maintaining some showers over there in Puerto Rico. That's our first look at the weather. After the break, we'll have the forecast. Welcome back. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 15 minutes after 6 and will set at 7 minutes past 6. Now, the first high tide is expected at 3:43 in the early morning and the first low at 16 minutes after 9 in the morning. Those seas moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. The winds coming in from the east to the east-southeast at 30 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect a mix of clear and cloudy skies along with a few light showers. And over the next 3 days, partly cloudy skies along with just a few showers can be expected.
Well, we usually call this term sports term, so Anne-Marie's back with more sports news.
Definitely. Red hosts are track and field champions at St. George Secondary after amassing 1,185 points. Blue hosts were second with 1,105.5, purple third 951, and green fourth 810.5. CBC's Admar Goodrich Boys reports from the school grounds.
Perfect day for track and field, and we're at the St. George Secondary for inter-house sports. We pick up the action with the under-13 girls 100 meter. A full field of athletes, but there was only going to be one winner. Good sprinting technique from Ijarika Mounter, and she deservedly wins in 14.53 seconds for blue. Her housemate Anastasia Callender was second, 15.34, and purple's Roshana Olton third, 16.08. Under 13 boys were center stage next. Nothing to separate them in the first few meters. But now it's Justin Walters presses the gas and is motoring to victory for red in 13.68. He won that race ahead of Jay Goodrich, also of red, 14.28, and blue's Rashid Cormac, 14.55. Let's head to the under 15s where the red dominance continued. It's gold and silver compliments Talia Salmon, 14.49, and Sheridan Grimes, 14.68. Lachey Bailey of blue was third, 15.90. Time for the boys, same division, same distance, but who wants it the most? The action to the right of your screen. It's a battle between Aziko Bellamy and Matthew Rock. Bellamy dips on the line, red hot like fire. He wins in 13.04. Rock of blue was second, 13.12, and Green's Amani Williams third, 13.85. Moving up to the under 17 girls, and this was one of the closest races of the day, and it went to the line where Shanika Major of red managed to snatch the win in 14.98. Faith Brown of blue took second, 15.01, and third went to Aishaka Moore of purple, 15.17. Boys equivalent fast start by the competitors into the transition phase, who will produce the top end speed required. Look at then Marion Richards of purple. He is the champ in 12.39. Green's Ronico Beckles was second, 12.55, and Natari Springer of purple third, 12.85. Under 20 girls followed, and this was a demolition job, folks. Speed to burn. If you miss, you blink. Shakira Salmon on the runway. Nobody will stop her. She wins in 13.17. Ahead of Green's DJ Scott, 14.63, and Reg Rakela Hinkson, 14.66. Two of the big boys, under 20s, who will be the fastest at St. George? Let's find out. Even for the first 40 meters, but can you believe it? On the outside, Tyreek Callender has reached his purple pat stage, 11.44 seconds his time. Greenwich Lewis was second for purple, 11.86, while third went to Damani Lane of red, 11.97. And Mark Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Prime Minister Mayor Amor Motley is calling for a resurgence in community-based sporting clubs as she sees them as vehicles to help give people purpose and belonging in society. Prime Minister Motley was speaking at the recent IDAYS Forum at Hayman's Market in St. Peter.
2 years ago, after COVID, we realized that there were a number of clubs who had suffered because of lack of dues during the period of COVID, and therefore the National Sports Council was able to support a number of clubs across the country. But clubs don't only need money, clubs need people. And at the end of the day, it is what we give back with respect to our time that will allow clubs to rise or to fall. In my own constituency, the Harold Nurse Community Centre is named after him because he was the treasurer of the Friendship Youth Group for over 30 years. And that is the kind of dedication and commitment that we want to see from people again.
Canadian Grandmaster Sean Rodrigue Lemieux produced an impressive unbeaten performance to claim the Open Division title in the Barbados Open Chess Championship, which concluded over the weekend at the Central Bank of Barbados. The top-seeded Rodrigue Lemieux ended on 7.5 points after 9 rounds, a half-point ahead of his compatriot international master Nicole Nortzin, who finished second on 7 points. Entering the final round with a half-point lead over Nortzin, Rodrigue Lemieux captured the title and $2,000 by defeating hometown international master Orlando Husbands with the white pieces, while Nortzin prevailed over Khalil Samuel to earn $1,500. Trinidad and Tobago's FIDE master Kevin Cupid finished third on 4.5 points to also take home $1,500. Edging Husbands on the tiebreak after he also ended with 4.5 points. And Tisha, that's it for sports. So back over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Good to see all the action at St. George School. I was there too.
Oh, that's always one of my schools to actually enjoy.
Good stuff. We'll return with more after the break.
The Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup is upon us. And here's a look at the horses and their connections, vying for that coveted trophy. This is Mounted Glory. Top U.S.-based Barbadian trainer Safi Joseph Jr. will have 2 charges in this year's Gold Cup: Harrow and public sector. The 7-year-old Bay Gelding Harrow is one of 2 to bring the Caribbean flavor to the race, owned by Avro Racing and One Guyana Racing. He comes in with 9 wins from 26 starts, 7 of those wins on turf, so taking the trip around the Garrison will not come as uncommon. On board will be Tashawn Hazelwood, who has an established rapport with his charge, having piloted him in a number of races in the U.S. Robert Pierce, who is Safi's assistant trainer, is comfortable where the horse is at ahead of Saturday's big day.
His first morning working, he was really professional. He did everything that we wanted him to do. He was relaxed and took in all the flags and the crowd and everything, and that's exactly what we want. And he traveled really, really well, so looking forward to it. You know, he has good form, and I think he can perform really well. As I say, they travel good, and once that's half the battle, you know. So and he seemed really relaxed on the track this morning, so I'm looking forward to good things.
Harrow will run out of gate 6 and represents St. Lucie. Meanwhile, public sector will be right next door in Gate 7, with 2019 Gold Cup winning jockey Rashid Hughes with the reins, hoping to bring it home for St. Peter. He's a 7-year-old bay horse who has a record of 6 wins and 30 starts, all on turf, having won 4 of those alone in 2021. Now, those are good stats. Before making the trip to Barbados, he ran 5th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf at Keeneland in the U.S. and is seen as a major threat to the more favored horses to bring Gold Cup glory. He's co-owned by the Most Honorable Peter Odell, who believes he will stack up good in what is a quality field.
Oh, he's a nice horse. He's had good form in the States, and we think he has an excellent chance. You have a lot of very good horses. This is probably, if you look at it, it may not be as many horses, but if you look at the quality of the horses in this race this year, I don't think I've seen as good quality horses run as we have this year. So it's not going to be an easy race for anybody.
A Gold Cup win has eluded trainer Safi Joseph Jr. despite his resounding success on the U.S. circuit. So maybe this is the year with his 2 chances, Harrow and public sector, that he can taste golden glory on home turf. That was a look at some of the horses and their connections vying for that coveted Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup. That was Mounted Glory.
And that's news. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. On behalf of the entire crew, do enjoy the rest of your evening.